Everybody, Dan Illman, Mike here for Kentucky Derby Prep Recap. The last major prep race for the 2021 Kentucky Derby was at Oaklawn Park last weekend, and as we break from the gate in the Arkansas Derby, Mike Beer, this Kentucky Derby picture thrown into a bit more disarray.
Yeah, I mean, certainly nobody distinguished themselves, Dan. I mean, I guess you could look at it and just say it just makes Essential Quality that much stronger as the likely favorite now, Dan. Concert Tour was signed off as a very heavy favorite in here, and he disappointed greatly.
Different tactics as in the Rebel for Concert Tour. When the Rebel went right to the lead and made Caddo Rivers sit second, this time Concert Tour and Joel Rosario very comfortable sitting off of Caddo River while Super Stock looms in the pocket.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Caddo River, you can't say this time he didn't get the trip he wanted, Dan. He wanted to be on the lead. Concert Tour was happy to let him take it. And Caddo River really is making the pace here, Dan, without a ton of pressure. I mean, Concert Tour is sitting right there, but it's not a ton of pressure. They're going to start to race a little bit around the second turn. It's at that point, Dan, around the second turn where Super Stock really wins this race because he doesn't let those horses get too far away.
You see Ricardo Santana Jr. aboard the #1 Super Stock, spying the speeds. And right here, I think everyone in attendance and everyone watching at home was expecting Concert Tour to put away Caddo River and go on to an impressive victory. Not so. Caddo River is digging in. Super Stock, to his credit, looked like for a second he was going to be outpaced, but he stays on and he's beginning his attack.
Yeah, I mean, again, he managed to keep himself within range of the two favorites there around the second turn. And at the end of the day, Dan, he was never really more than 2 or 3 lengths away from these horses. He's going to get to the outside now. And once these two favorites can't get away from him, the race is basically over. Superstock has the best finish. He'll take over late, and there's really nothing happening behind.
Perhaps the most disappointing aspect of Concert Tour's defeat is he blows second in the shadow of the wire to Caddo River. He had 3/4 of a length on Caddo River at the 8th pole. Let that horse come back on him. Do we assume from this race that Concert Tour is simply a need the lead type, and that Rebel, he was dressed up by getting to the lead, and in here, the trip, there was nothing wrong with it. He sat second. He just didn't seem like he wanted to seal the deal.
Yeah, I mean, he got a good trip in this race. I mean, I don't know if I would say he needs the lead. He won the San Vicente without the lead, Dan. Could just be distance, could just be that he's, not quite that good. Obviously, in a race like this where he was already in the Derby, it didn't look to me like Rosario was really, all in with this horse. He was very disappointing. Nonetheless, it's a race that if he was really good, he would have won regardless. And the fact that he didn't get second is a real disappointment.
Let's talk a little bit about the winner, Super Stock, who earned a career-best 92 Beyer speed figure. He was 4th in the Rebel in his prior start, his seasonal debut, but that was his first start since October. His races last year, some of them were pretty good, including the 3rd behind Essential Quality in the Breeders' Futurity. This looks like a horse that is getting good at the right time. The question is he good enough? He would have to improve, you would think, from a Beyer scale significantly to threaten on the first Saturday in May.
You would think, although at this stage of the game, again, heading into the Kentucky Derby, where are the fast horses, Dan? I mean, he ran a 92 in this race. Yeah, he's going to have to do better than that in Kentucky, but, he's not that far off even the favorite at this point. So, we'll see what happens. A trip could be very important to him in Kentucky. He's going to have to improve again. Listen, at least when you're talking about him, you're right. He had some credentials as a 2-year-old, and he really improved in this race.
And he has a little bit of pedigree as well. He's a $70,000 yearling by Dialed In and a half-brother to a Grade 1 placed sprinter named Bougie Girl. Talking about a couple of the others in the race as we take a look at the prices here. Caddo River, improved performance for the Brad Cox trainee, was able to get to the front. And I think he's kind of a need-the-lead type, Mike, and that might work against him in a race like the Kentucky Derby where you would think there would be some other speeds. I'm not sure about a 1.25 miles. I'm not sure about a race like the Derby, but the Cox connections have to be very happy with this performance.
I mean, I'm sure they're happier than they were coming out of the Rebel, Dan. He did run better in this race. I don't know how well he actually ran in here. Again, he got the trip that he wanted. Concert Tour was happy to let him have the lead in here. I didn't think they were blazing on the front end. And this horse, to me, even from the top of the stretch, Dan, it never looked like he was going to win. I guess they'll go on to Kentucky from here, but I don't want him.
The other Baffert train runner in this race, Hosier, who is second behind Concert Tour in the Rebel, he underperformed greatly.
Yeah, he didn't do anything in this race. Just sat back off the pace, much as he did last time. I didn't see his excuse, Dan. He had nothing on the stretch.
My question for you, Mike, is if you were a Concert Tour fan coming into this race, you're now getting a better price in the Kentucky Derby. Is this race enough to just simply say, I was wrong about him, I don't want anything to do with him? Or can you say, listen, the goal is the Kentucky Derby. These races are named prep races for a reason, and you would expect Baffert to have him on tilt?
I mean, I guess I could go either side of that argument, Dan. You know, personally, I wasn't a huge fan of his leading into these races. So, you know, I've come out of this race in particular very disappointed, even if I feel like, you know, they employed different tactics just getting him a race here. And I don't know that they were necessarily all in to win it. But I still think he's supposed to at least be second and perhaps even win the race. I mean, listen, if you liked him on the way in, though, I guess it's too early to give up. Dan, again, this is a 3-year-old crop without a standout.
Steve Asmussen on the Kentucky Derby trail with Arkansas Derby winner Superstock, although perhaps the ultimate winner of this year's Arkansas Derby is Essential Quality.